Hello, my name is Silvia Echeverria Saenz. I work at the National University of Costa Rica, and I'm here today to present you this project named Ecological Integrity, Impairment, and Habitat Fragmentation in a Neotropical Agricultural Stream. Just for a little bit of context, as some of you may know, Costa Rica is located in Central America, and this geographic position allows for the migration of species between South and North America. And this, in conjunction with our tropical climate, has made Costa Rica a biodiversity hotspot, accounting for about 5 to 6% of the world's known biodiversity. In the South Pacific of Costa Rica, you can find this watershed, which is the object of our study, which is the Rio Volcan watershed. And this is a very interesting basin because it has a very conservated upper part, which is also in a national park. And it has a wide altitudinal range from more than 10,000 feet to 200 or feet above sea level. So the upper part, which is very highly conservated and has a lot of forest, goes into a lowland which has mostly cropped areas with pineapple and sugarcane. This right here is the Peje stream, and this stream drains all of its sub-watershed. It is draining cropped areas of sugarcane and pineapple. In a previous study, we made analysis of pesticide residues, and also we analyzed water quality with respect to a macroinvertebrates index. And we found in practically all of the sites in the watershed excellent to good water quality, except on this Peje stream, which I told you about, that has some periods with good water quality or regular water quality, and the rest of the periods with low water quality, bad or highly contaminated water quality. So going more in depth into this stream in particular, we found that the campaigns which had the highest biodiversity and richness of macroinvertebrates were the field campaigns executed in the dry season, in this case in March, in the years of this previous study. And we found that 17 macroinvertebrate families were only present in the peak of the dry season. And they disappeared completely the rest of the year within the transition and the rainy seasons. So, to try to understand why the macroinvertebrate community behaved this way specifically in the Peje stream and not in any of the other sites within the Rio Volcan watershed, we did a new study, and we measured water velocity and flow parameters, chemical variables, basic, habitat parameters, and energy sources to try to figure out what was the ecological integrity of this stream and to identify which environmental factors might be limiting the macroinvertebrate establishment of the community in this stream in particular. So the basic physical and chemical parameters did not change much between the dry, which is marked in these brownish boxes, and the rainy seasons. They remained fairly stable throughout the year. This is different in the energy sources and the flow regimes. We can see this line representing nitrates, and we see that the higher concentrations, which are very high in this stream, are reached in the rainy season probably because of runoff from the agricultural fields. And the lowest concentrations are in the dry season. And we also see this pattern for the flow. And periphyton was measured both as a community responding to these energy sources and flow of the water, and also as an energy source or food for the macroinvertebrate communities. And we can see that it has a low variability throughout the year, except that they reach a peak. The abundance of periphyton reaches a peak right after the transition period between the rainy and the dry season. And this is probably related to higher nitrates and lower turbidity, higher light penetration in the water ecosystem. Then we did a principal components analysis with all of the measured parameters to see which related also to the abundance and richness of macroinvertebrates. And we find a negative relation between the concentration of nitrates and the abundance and richness of macroinvertebrates, being that abundance and richness of macroinvertebrates was highest in the dry seasons and nitrates were highest in the rainy season. We made this analysis with R, which is called with a package called Titan2. And this is an environmental threshold analysis. And what we see is that at this point, at this concentration of nitrates, which is 7.15 milligrams per liter, you can see an abrupt change in the structure of the macroinvertebrate community. So this is an environmental threshold for nitrates that is signaling a maximum concentration over which the macroinvertebrate community really changes, and there are only just a few genera and families of macroinvertebrates which are able to survive higher concentrations of nitrates. Then the pesticide concentrations are also increasing in the new study with respect to the previous study. And we are finding more substances, some in higher concentrations, and also these ones with red boxes are pesticides which are considered highly hazardous pesticides, and they are also insecticides. And this constant presence of pesticide residues with similar levels throughout the year might also be playing a significant role in the toxicity of the water in Peje stream and with the communities of macroinvertebrates. So this stream within the Rio Volcan watershed is evidencing contaminant-driven habitat fragmentation, aquatic habitat fragmentation. And we are proposing a restoration process to enhance the habitat, the energy sources, and decrease runoff contamination with two main strategies. The restoration of riparian forests along all of the different river channels that compose the sub-watershed of Peje stream. We know there is recolonization from other parts of the watershed with higher water quality and higher ecological integrity. And also we are aiming for lagoon restoration for as maybe even as a system of water treatment. Because this sub-watershed of the Peje stream was composed in the past of a lagoon system which maybe maintained the waters in higher quality. But these lagoons are now mostly drained and there are crops in there. So we are thinking if we can restore these lagoons and restore more of the riparian vegetation, we can return good conditions and the Peje stream can regain a lot of its ecological integrity and allow for the biodiversity of macroinvertebrates to establish in this stream. And that is what I had to share with you. Thank you very much. Muchas gracias.